Hello. I hope somebody can see this. I'm a minute before my scheduled time for my big adventure event live stream, but I have posted an event URL for this that I hope works. So let's see about that. I'm sorry, I'm just posting on various things that I am around, so I can just excuse me for a moment. But yeah, welcome to my stream. I am going to be showing my new demo for the Crimson Diamond that I just finished making and launching on my Steam and itch.io pages just the past week or so. So we're just gonna get in here, and I'll be not distracted in 1 second, I promise. But I just have to make sure all the places that I want to announce this are announced, and then I will begin very, very shortly. Okay. Alright, okay, full attention now. Okay. Welcome to my stream. I am Julia Minamata. I am the game developer behind the Crimson Diamond, and I'm really happy to be a part of the Big Adventure event this year. It's a wonderful celebration of adventure games. HitSense has done a wonderful job organizing this, and I couldn't be happier to be participating. And yeah, they're just a little bit about HitSense, because I don't know if anyone talks about the actual people who have been so nice as to organize this. HitSense is a publisher and a developer of games, and they published Inspector Waffles, which is a wonderful adventure game. I actually did a little pixel art for Adventure Waffles, and I met the developer Yan at Adventure X in London in 2019. So that was super nice. And so yeah, they've made that. They're making a game called Aquamarine right now that looks really pretty, and yeah, they're wonderful. And thank you, everyone here who's watching right now. Thank you so much for supporting adventure games. Thank you so much for supporting indie game developers. It's this type of event it really helps to show our games to a larger audience, maybe reach a larger audience than we would otherwise be able to do on our own. So that's good. Wonderful. Looks good. Mousemas, good to see you. Yeah. Steam is always kind of a little tricky to stream to. There is a bit more of a lag on Steam streaming versus something like Twitch. I actually do stream on Twitch on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. I stream art development of some of the game assets, and I'll show you guys what I mean by that, and game music development with the musician on the project, Dan Polakar. And we do that on Twitch, and Twitch usually is pretty good about a bunch of different things. And Steam is great because, you know, with an event like this, we can show the game to a bunch of new people. It should be on my Steam store page, hopefully. I don't know if anyone wants to check that, but yeah, usually on Tuesdays, and actually I'll be streaming this Tuesday at 8 p.m. as well. My Twitch handle is _Maple Mystery. It will be an art stream. I am streaming some introductory sequence art, which some upgraded art is in the new demo, so that's kind of nice. And I also have been playing something called a Personal Nightmare. It's a game from 1989 by Horrorsoft. I love adventure games. I love old adventure games too, and I've been having fun exploring what that game has to offer. Deluxe Tux, exactly. Read my mind. We're back on the famously reliable stream video. I know. Actually, last time I did an event with Steam streaming, there was an issue with, I think, international viewers were having trouble getting onto the stream. So hopefully that got a little better this time. Blaholtzen, okay, so you're who I was meaning when I'm referring to international viewers. So if you can see this, then actually I'm very, very pleased and happy and relieved. Okay, it's on the store page. Wonderful. Thank you for checking, Blaholtzen. I was checking earlier today to make sure all my ducks were in a row for streaming on Steam. And Dan helped me with that, and my friend Anna helped me with that, so thanks to them. But yes, let's get started. Yeah, I'm introducing myself. I'm Julia. I am the programmer and the writer and the artist and the animator, marketing, all that stuff. I'm doing everything in the game except for, there's a couple things, big excepts. except for the music. Dan Pollockar is doing the music. He did music on Brenda and John Romero's Empire of Sin, which is out right now. So if you want to hear some of his stuff from that, definitely check out that game. And a big other except is lots of wonderful people helping test the game and the demo as well. So the beta, thank you to the beta testers, thank you to players who have been sending me feedback, because I do go through all the feedback. I've taken in a lot of the feedback that I got in the intervening time since the last time I released a demo, which was about maybe a year and a half ago, maybe more, into the current version of the demo, which is available on Steam and on itch.io and on my site. I literally, just before I came onto this, I uploaded the new Mac and the PC versions to my webpage. So you can go to thecrimsondiamond.com if you don't want to use itch.io or Steam, and you can just download it directly from my page. Which, yeah, that's another person, Chad Armstrong, helped with the Mac port. He basically just did the Mac port for PC, for the Mac version of the Crimson Diamond demo. And so, yes, there's so many people that are helping me make the game. So I can't just say it's just me, really. There's a bunch of other people. And I'm very grateful. Ambersine, good to see you. Ian Han as well, good to see you. Old school too, yes. Super old school. Yeah, I wonder if Personal Nightmare is available on Steam. It's available on GOG, that's all I know. And I feel weird being on Steam's platform talking about other things, like Twitch and itch.io and GOG. Yes, okay, so that's that. I'm going to intro my game, and then I'm going to run the trailer. Very quickly, my game is a mystery adventure game. And it kind of does, like, yeah, we've had Ian Han just said old school. Because, yeah, it does have an old school look. It has an old school sound. I'm using the EGA color palette, which is, well, you'll see in the game, it's a 16 color palette from like 30 years ago that I have very fond memories of growing up. And Dan has been using a Roland MT32 for the music, so genuine. He has the genuine hardware. And when you watch a music stream, Dan is composing on this very, very ancient piece of machinery, which is kind of educational and fun to see him wrestle with the limitations of what that is. But yeah, it sounds and looks like an old adventure game, but my goal is for it not to necessarily play like an old adventure game. I have a bunch of quality of life improvements kind of learned from stuff like Personal Nightmare and other old adventure games and stuff I don't want to do with mine to make it easier for people to play. And we're going to show all of that when I get around to the demo. But first, I'm going to run the trailer, and then we will move on to some other stuff like a dev update and talk about a few other things, and then get right into it because I've got an hour to do this on my slot. I do anticipate I will be going longer, in which case you can find I'll be continually streaming this from my Steam store page, because right now we should be on, if all things kind of worked, which I think they are, because I did check earlier in the day, and the Steam schedule the streaming schedule seems to be in line with the internal schedule we were shown. So hopefully I'm on the Big Adventure Event main page right now, but after my hour slot's done, I will be on my own Crimson Diamond store page, streaming a little bit longer, because usually I do stream for longer, and that's just what I'm used to. But we'll see. Let's run the trailer really quick, and we'll get on with the show. Okay. Crimson, Ontario was once a prosperous, lively mining town. But that was a long time ago. Now it's quiet, nearly deserted, and some folks aim to keep it that way. Nancy Maple is an aspiring mineralogist, assigned to follow the trail of a dazzling diamond. An intriguing cast of characters has converged under one roof, each meaning to get their own way. Or else. Will Nancy untangle the mysteries and machinations before it's too late? Will the sleepy town of Crimson shine once more? Find out in The Crimson Diamond, an upcoming adventure game by Julia Minamata. The Crimson Diamond demo is available on Steam and itch.io for Windows PC and Mac OS. Okay, yes, thank you. That's the trailer, and I'm just catching up on chat a little bit. Ian Hanshin from Twitter, good to see you. Welcome to my stream. Also, there's a tiger in chat. Heyo, who, yes, I will guess is Faroy. Another one of my stream regulars. Thank you guys. It's so wonderful to see you guys here, being in chat, being as lovely as usual. I really, really appreciate that. But yeah, I guess some people are going to have different names on this. Like, I mean, my name, you can kind of see my my Steam username. It's tough to find a Steam username, and so this is what I have. JM Jam 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 is me. And good. Deluxe Text, thank you. Confirmed. I'm on the main stage right now. Fantastic. Just a Jeffy, good to see you as well. It looks like a lot of people have very consistent usernames, which I'm very impressed by. Um, yes, you didn't get a Twitch notification for the stream. Yes, Tiger, you wouldn't have. But yes, there is Ian Han. You can sit and spin in the chair, and you can now. I don't know if this is a new addition to the most recent version of the stream of the demo, but you can just spin now if you want on the spot. I don't know why you'd want to do that. There's no consequence to doing so, but there's no benefit either. But you can, because someone suggested it, and it just I couldn't resist. Oh, I can change my visible name on Steam. I'm learning something every day. Okay, so that's that dev update. I just finished the new demo that is available in all the places now, in Mac and in PC. People have already found bugs, which is great. And if you do find a bug, please let me know, because I will fix it or do my best to fix it. But also the Crimson Diamond beta, which is the first 4 chapters, I have released to my beta testers. They've already found bugs again, but that's again a good thing. The game is going to be 7 chapters. The demo is the first chapter, but I'm going to be releasing the whole game in entirety, chapters 1 to 7, all together. Hopefully this year. We'll see about that. But that's the plan. But that's the dev update. One more thing I want to show. There's a few other things I want to show. Wow, it's almost 8:15. Okay. Oh, that's not what I wanted to show. First, ironically, that isn't. The first thing I wanted to show real quick is I do have a Patreon, and you can find the links to all that stuff on thecrimsondiamond.com. And I do a Christmas card every year for my $5 tier patrons, and I have all my cards all stuffed and ready to go. I have a giveaway right now, and it still stands because I have not sent these things out yet. If you are a $5 tier patron, you can become one anytime before I do my mailing. You will get this holiday card package, which is last year's Christmas card, a version of that card in postcard form. Both postcards that I printed out for events that I would give out, and everything's signed in gold pen. And there's a daytime and nighttime version of the Lodge. That's what the 2 postcards are, and they're nice and glossy and really pretty. And there is a day and night cycle in the game. It's not in the demo, but in the full game, you'll get to see that change, which was kind of nice to do for the art. And as time passes, different things happen in the game, etc. And there's a sticker in the package as well. And apparently in Toronto, our COVID cases are peaking or something. So maybe next month I'll send these things out. They're just about ready to go, I promise. And thank you for your patience. There's that. And what was the other thing I wanted to show? Oh yes, one other thing I want to show is I do have, if you're interested in getting dev updates and in general all the news and stuff I have going on with the game, like media stuff and links to the streams that I've done every in the intervening weeks since the previous Gazette. I do the Gazette every month. I send it out about the 15th or 16th of every month. I've done about 40 of them so far, so there's plenty to look at. Oh, Cosmic Void is here. Kavat, good to see you. Tiger says it's okay, I haven't checked my mail for 2 months anyway. Okay, so there is a post office box that's in the address at the bottom of the Crimson Diamond Gazettes, because in Canada we have this law where you need to have a mailing address attached to any kind of mailings you do. And so I do have a post office box, and I have not checked it since October. So if you plan on sending me anything that's oversized, please let me know, because they're just going to throw it out after 2 weeks because they won't notify me because they're the post office. But I have no idea what's in there right now, and I hope nothing got thrown out. Ambersy, good to see you. Yes, and we do have a lot of devs in here, which is wonderful. And yes, Blood Nova is on Kickstarter right now. That is Cosmic Void 3. That's Kavat in chat's game. Please support indie adventure games. It's so encouraging to see Kickstarters become funded for all these projects. They're wonderful, and I love to see like original looking art, original stories by a bunch of different devs. And Eric Parkin, good to see you as well. And thank you, Eric. I always like seeing you on Twitter. You're so encouraging, and that does it does make a big difference for me, because even before all this isolation stuff, I work alone a lot, and so streaming like on the Tuesdays and streaming like this are kind of my social outlets, and so even seeing you guys in chat really does make my day. But yeah, so here I just wanted to go over quickly. Uh, Oop, no, that's not what I wanted. What is it? Browser. Okay, interact. Right. So this is what you can expect. So you can see upper left hand corner here. You can see a place to subscribe to the list. I do have a mailing list. If you want this directly in your email box, I will get that delivered to you every month. If you don't want to, I always tweet out when the new one has come up, and it always comes out down to this page, so you can just visit this page and read the latest. And yeah, there's a ton of stuff here. I do watercolor cat cards. That was Happy New Year's and Year of the Tiger. And this talks about the big adventure event. Then and all these other things. Here are the letters. The Christmas cards all stacked up, ready to send. Links to all the streams we did. There was a wonderful holiday stream Dan and I did, where we worked on a new piece of music. One of my favorite Canadian folk tunes, which is Farewell to Nova Scotia. That was wonderful, and that's going to make it in the game too. Here are my Let's Plays for Personal Nightmare. My cross stitch, which has gotten further, I will show a progress of the cross stitch as it is now. And yeah, you can just see, just to give you a general idea, I have a mineral trivia section. I usually have a rock fact every month. This one is talking about Lake Superior agate. Crimson, Ontario is in that Lake Superior, Hudson's Bay, James Bay kind of region, in that big part of land, somewhere in there. It's not specified where it is exactly. But these are bits of Lake Superior agate. You can kind of see a bit of banding here in the one that's in the bottom middle. And yes, I love rocks. And the Crimson Diamond, there's mineralogy in the game, there's geology in the game. Kind of lightweight educational, like not edutainment by a long stretch, but it's one of my interests. So it's really wonderful for me to be able to research that type of a thing. And there's a GIF, and that's about it. So yeah, this is other stuff. I worked on Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator as well. I did the pixel art for that. That is out already. That was came out last month in December. But yeah, so I mean, if you want to, you can just scroll through all this and see what's going on with the game and other stuff I'm working on. So there's that. But yes, please, the best way to do it for me, and also just the best way to be kind of platform agnostic, is for me to have a mailing list that is just my own, in case who knows what's going to happen with social media platforms or whatever's going to come next. And for me, it's super valuable to have names of people who are interested in my project that I'm going to have contact with no matter what. So that's that. Twitch schedule I already talked about. I am _Maple Mystery on Twitch. I stream on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Alternate Tuesdays, it's art and music with Dan, and they're good times. We have a wonderful group of people who come in to that. Yeah, Ian had there are minerals that do have trapped water. In fact, there was a diamond that had that very same one. I think that idea where there was a void inside. It was a really tiny void, but it had water in it as well. So it does happen. It's just extremely rare. And something else that's kind of fun is there are these blown glass Christmas balls, like Victorian blown glass Christmas balls. And what you can do is, because they're actually they've got air in them, so you can actually researchers have actually studied the air composition of those times because of the air that's trapped in those Christmas balls, which is really cool. And hydroagate, yeah, it's really, really fascinating, that type of a thing. You just never know. Like, and there's even like honey that got found that's you could still eat from Egyptian tombs. That kind of stuff's fascinating. Let's see. So and I also have a YouTube channel. All that stuff's on crimsondiamond.com, where I put the VODs up in case Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern doesn't work for you. I put all this stuff up there as well, in case you want to watch or half watch while you're doing something else. Okay, what time is it? 8:19. Oh my goodness. Okay, moving on. One last thing to show is the cross stitch progress, and then I'm going to get right into the demo. Here is, oh yeah, the chroma key is kind of giving me a trouble here. So, Logitech webcam filters. Turn off the chroma key. Okay, yes. Yeah, there it is. This is the latest. One of my characters in the game. I've already done a few of these characters. Nancy Maple, this is the lady you'll be playing, the top row. We've got Margot over here, and all this is Nessa. She's a work in progress. And that's my chroma key off. Let's turn the chroma key back on. And let's get into it. Yeah, my time is almost half over, and I haven't even started playing the demo. Let's get into it. Okay. Right. Okay, perfect. Okay, here it is. This music you're hearing right now was composed by Dan. It's the Crimson Diamond theme, and he's composed a lot of tracks actually. Dan on stream has composed, I've got the list here. Like some are shorter than others. They're not all full-fledged songs, but he's composed about 25 different little bits and pieces of music. But this one is still my favorite. Yeah, Ian Han, it's a time capsule for Air, the Victorian, the blown glass Christmas ornament. And Tiger, I have not heard that they discovered a new mineral trapped inside a diamond. That I've heard of a diamond inside a diamond. That's the one I heard. Maybe there wasn't water in it. They were calling it the Matryoshka diamond because of those Russian nesting dolls, but maybe there wasn't water in it. That's the one I was thinking of. Sorry, the nesting diamond. Oh, Kavat, I have not looked into the feedback you've given me so far about the demo, and the many things that people have already found wrong, which is a good thing, but it's also not a good thing. But yes, that is a freaky bug, and I hopefully I'll be able to replicate that. But yes, here is the title screen. There are some new options that are included in the game. There's some tutorial boxes, which I will keep on to show you some of the ways that people can learn how to play the game if you've never played a text parser adventure game in particular. And definitely a lot of people probably haven't, considering they've kind of fallen out of fashion for the last 30 plus years. Which is why I have a tutorial for my game, which is going to walk players through the most basic text parser commands that you might want to try to play the game with. You're going to have to come up with other types of commands and other verbs, but these are some of the absolute basics that are going to really go a long way to, giving you a good start in the game. And so let's go there. Here's the tutorial room. And I'm not going to read all the stuff out, but you can hopefully check that out on your own. But I just wanted to quickly show how this all works. So basic in a text parser game would be to look at it. Hopefully in the writing in the game I've been able to kind of highlight points of interest and also the characters that are in that particular room. So important features, cupboard and a green door, and the characters that are in the room. So Jack is here, and we can talk and look at them. That's a good way to start with characters, is to get a good look at them. The first time you look at a character, oh yes, and that's the score sound composed by Dan. And indicates that you are making progress in the game. I'm not showing the score per se in the actual game. I am counting a score that's hidden, but that's just an audio cue. I want to come up with a visual cue to accompany the audio cue, but I just haven't come up with a good solution for that yet. But yes, I do want to do that because I'm trying to, if people don't play with the sound for whatever reason or are hard of hearing, I want people to understand that there's something positive that you've just done in the game. Right. First time you look at a character, oh wait, I forgot to look at Jack. I didn't even do my own thing properly. Look, Jack. First time you look at a character, you're going to get a general overall impression of them, basic stuff, what they look like overall, and the general age, that type of a thing, and what Nancy's impression of them is at that point. Ian Hans, it just occurred to me you could add literal Easter eggs that can only be found on Easter. An image that gradually reveals each point pixel by pixel. There is an adventure game studio. So this game is made in an adventure game studio, which is a wonderful place, wonderful tool for developers to make adventure games. A lot of adventure games have been made in it. Kathy Rain, Rosewater, Lamplight City, Unavowed, Lots of wonderful games made with the engine. And what's cool about Adventure Game Studio is if you load it up on certain days of the year, for instance, Chris Jones's birthday and Christmas, and maybe another day or two, you get special loading screens, which I do really enjoy. Right. Now Jack is here to help with the tutorial. Another good thing to do as the game progresses in time, looking at characters and talking to characters at each stage of the game will kind of hopefully give you an indication of what their state of mind is, what they're actually doing in the game at that time. Yeah, overall. So we can talk to Jack. I mean, he doesn't have much to say in the tutorial room as what pertains to the greater story, but we can talk to him. And she introduces herself. Nice to meet you, Nancy. We can ask characters about things, and this is really key for a mystery game and a really, really big key for a text parser game. The idea where you have to generate questions based on what you've read already in the story. So we can ask Jack about tutorial. I've tried to make the text parser fairly flexible. So if you just type ask about tutorial, it will ask Jack about tutorial. If there's more than one character in the game, it'll ask everyone in the room about tutorial, and they'll just kind of give their responses in turn. You could ask a man about tutorial. So I tried to make it a text parser as easy as possible because I do realize that it's not that common and kind of it can be tricky to get used to it. So for instance, this suggests ask Jack about tutorial. I'm going to just ask about tutorial, just as was suggested. And yes, there are a few different ways to move the character around. I've really wanted to, as much as I can, give players different options on how to type in the text parser or to even move around the screen. And one of the main things you'll be doing is moving the character around different rooms, and there's a few options for that. The first option is the old point and click interface, which is I'm clicking the footstep icon all over the place. The blue point on the upper left is the target that we're targeting here as she walks. But also, you can use the arrow keys. And there's a couple different movement options with the arrow keys. Right now, it defaults to press and hold. So if I hold the arrow key in one direction, she will move in that direction. If I take my finger off the arrow key, she stops. But there is a bunch of different options here. When I need to recolor these, because that was another bit of feedback I just received. It's kind of, these are low contrast, the bright green with the light gray. So I'm going to change that. If you've ever played an old Sierra type of adventure game, tap to move was the default for that type of game. And what that means is you press the arrow key in one direction and she doesn't stop until she either hits a wall or you press the same direction key again. And to be honest, when I first showed this game back in 2018 at an event in Toronto, this was the default, and I forgot that people are not used to this movement style, so I actually... Because they would do this, they would hold it down and she'd stutter step and she'd kind of get locked into place. So I realized, I can't design this for people 30 years ago. I need to design this for people today. And what people are used to is either pointing and clicking or just pressing and holding these arrow keys. But let's ask Jack about inventory, which leads me to another option that you'll have in the game. There's an inventory. And there's a couple different things you can do in an inventory. You can look at and examine things. So this is the eyeball icon on the bottom left. You can click on the items in your inventory to just get a general idea and impression. Oh wow, I didn't know Unavowed has a special commemorative scene if you play on September 11th. I did not know that. That's really cool. Thanks, Deluxe Tux. And then there's this loop, which is on the kind of middle between the close and the eyeball icon, which is your examine action for your inventory. And you can take a close look. So this is the newspaper that you're holding that you start the game with, and you'll take a close look at the photograph that's in the newspaper. And also you can examine objects in the room. So you don't use the loop icon for that, but you just type in examine cupboard in this case, and you can see that it's kind of encircled by this round yellow circle, which is meant to represent like the rim of the loop. So you are examining things with it, although you can't do it with the point and click interface, unfortunately. But I added that to the tutorial just so people know that if you want to get a closer look at stuff that's in the room, you can. But yeah, there's another option for the inventory window that I did include that is new to this version of the demo, which is a text-based inventory. Um, I did this because some players in these old adventure games, in EGA adventure games usually did not have a graphical inventory, so I included a text-based inventory here, although it does have some quality of life modifications, where you can use you can look at pressing the L button when that certain inventory item is selected, or examine it that way. If you so desire, you can do it that way. But I must admit, I do prefer the graphical inventory myself. So, ask Jack about Notebook. Speaking of quality of life changes. Oh, Eric says, I appreciate the attention you gave to accessibility. And honestly, Eric, yeah, a lot of the feedback you gave me was super valuable. And you were the one who kind of, your feedback caused me to include the text pressure shortcuts, which I will talk about when we get into the game proper. I want to thank you for that, because it's stuff that I hadn't considered. And I try my best to make the game as accessible as possible. Taking into account not only my limitations as a programmer, there's some certain things I don't know how to do, and I'd have to figure out how to do them while still making a somewhat reasonable deadline for myself. And the other limitation being time, which I'm doing pretty much everything in the game, and so there's only so much I can do to make it as kind of as broad and accessible as possible. Although I do want to make higher contrast text, because that's more feedback that I received recently, and actually not even that recently, so that's something I want to do as well. Because some people with vision difficulties would have trouble reading the text as it is in the colors that I've given, so I do want to give some options for high contrast. Although hopefully the actual text is big enough. Although I don't know about that either. Hopefully. Ian Hunt asked, did you limit the game to 64 colors of the EGA palette? Also, is each screen limited to 16 colors? Yeah, Ian Hunt, I've limited, it's exactly the same 16, it's like the default EGA palette, I guess it's called. The whole game is completely limited to that palette. And yes, and Froy also says, I love the modern trend, if you hold tab to highlight all clickable spots on the screen. That is something I did not implement in my game, but I know Francisco Gonzalez was making Rosewater. I think that's something he's done with his. But this is a quality of life improvement, the notebook, which is to track progress. And I've done this for people, you don't want to forget what you're doing in your game, you lose your place. This is going to give you an idea of the actions you need to perform to progress to the next stage of the game. Although it says already here, be careful, if you simply follow the notebook's prompts, you might miss important details. There are conversations that you can listen in on and other events you can see that if you don't explore the lodge, you may miss. But I didn't want people to be afraid of exploring and asking characters about things, and that's why I explicitly kind of list what you'd need to do to progress the game. So I don't want to punish anybody for accidentally walking into a room, for instance, and accidentally advancing the game clock, that type of a thing. So this kind of fulfills both those purposes of giving the player an idea of what they need to do next, and also telling them you can do anything you want in the game until you decide to progress it yourself, completely in your own control. So you control the pacing of the game. Yep. So the tutorial has this all listed here. Just for the tutorial, get the hat, open the door, walk through the doorway. So we're not going to ask Jack about the cupboard. I can see I'm already halfway through my time and we haven't even started the game. So let us open the cupboard. Although I do want to talk really quickly about this distinction here. Something is inside the cupboard. If you look cupboard, the game will tell you what the cupboard looks like. If you look in cupboard, the cupboard will tell you the game will tell you what's inside the cupboard. And search cupboard also works the same as look in cupboard. So if I look cupboard, it tells me that the cupboard is massive with a set of double doors with paneling. If I search cupboard, I see a green hat in the cupboard. And I did kind of make that distinction, and I don't know, I mean, that's kind of up for debate whether that's a user-friendly way to do things, but in some ways, as well with the pressing tab for the hotspots, it's something that I consciously made the decision to make it a little tougher in certain ways. than others, while really trying to make it easier in those other ways. So let's take the hat. We're not going to look at the hat. We don't have time. We don't have time to look at the hat. Okay. Although we will look at it in our inventory, just to show you what that is. Open door. Yes, Eric Parkin also says high contrast text would be a good idea. So yes, that's definitely something that's going to be on my list of things to do. Deluxe Talk, shout out once again for parser shortcuts which render obsolete almost any other parser I have used. But it's kind of funny because there are Sierra text parser adventure games that did take advantage of text parser shortcuts. I think Police Quest, one of the Police Quests did. I don't remember which one, maybe one or two. So it is a thing that was done. I don't know how well it was advertised though. Ian Han asks, is there anything you wanted to do for this game that is too difficult with AGS or that AGS does not currently support? Yeah, one of the things that I really liked... Hold on, let me just get out of here. One of the things that I really like... Phil Fortier, who is an amazing programmer, like way better than I am, he's working on Cascadia Quest, and he did 4 Snail Trek games, which I believe are on Steam, and I think they're very reasonably priced. He made 4 Snail Trek games that are text parser, and he made an autocomplete function for his text parser, which people have asked me, that would be a good idea for you to have, Julia, for your game, and I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how, how when you're you're typing stuff in and you've got a cursor and you need to shuffle back a few cursor spaces because you forgot, a letter in a word that you want to type. I don't even know how to do that in my game. So if you wanted to add the U in color, if you're Canadian, you can't just shuffle back the cursor and then insert a U in between the O and the R. You have to just erase and come back and write the rest. I don't know how to do that. Yes, Cascadia Quest looks nice. He's doing a wonderful job with it. Arthur1042, welcome to chat by the way, asks, so do you feel that the game you initially envisioned and the game you have created up until now match, or do you feel it's gone way beyond what you wanted to initially make? Really good question. I think in terms of the scope of the game and what I envisioned it to be, it's pretty much exactly very close to what I was thinking. Although I made that rookie mistake that people tell all new game developers not to do, and I wish I had received this piece of advice before I started my project. This project is going to be like a full-length game. It's going to have 7 to 10 hours of gameplay, and it's my first project. So that was a bad idea. Start small. Start with a small, a little project, and then build up to something bigger. It's too late for me now. I'm more than halfway done. So that's the thing. But the game, in terms of what I wanted it to do and how I wanted the player to interact with it and how I wanted the game to respond to the player, it's pretty basic. It's a very straightforward style of game, which also really suits me as someone who is basically learning how to do the programming as I'm going. Stuff like arcade sequences, you don't have to worry about me really putting in because I don't know how to do them. So be thankful in some respects to my limited knowledge. But yeah, that's a wonderful thing about adventure games, is that the mechanics are kind of simple, but within that we try to build something that's interesting, puzzly potentially, although hopefully not too illogical, and just an experience more, and kind of going through a story and making certain decisions here and there. Which is why I have stuff that you can optionally find in the game and stuff that you need to actually encounter in the game to progress it. Because I do want it's a linear game, but I want there to be some replay value. Yes, erase and come back works just fine on the text parser. I hope so. Let's start with a new game. And this is an example of the intro art. This is pretty much finished, I'd say, except the sprite of the fisherman is still not fully developed yet. But this is a piece I recently finished just a couple weeks ago on an art stream. And I'm really pleased with how that looks. But you'll see that changes really quickly. You'll see what happens. This is definitely something I need to replace. This is nice. We did this together on an art stream. This is another, a lot of this stuff will still need to be finished. A lot of the reviews that I get on Steam say that the art looks terrible, and I totally get it. This is not what the game looks like, I promise. But I just wanted to get the intro out and have it done, kind of storyboarded like this, so that I knew exactly what I was working with. And I'm just going to go through my art streams are basically this. I take each of these scenes and I just go and I fix it up and I make it look like the rest of the game. And this guy doesn't have a walk cycle, and he's a loosely disguised version of an actual character in the game, but that will also change. The story here is the newspaper that is in your inventory we saw in the tutorial room. It talks is this issue that your professor or your boss is giving you, which is that somebody found a huge diamond in the belly of a fish in a place called Crimson, Ontario, and you're expected as a clerk at the Royal Canadian Museum to go up there and to inspect this diamond find. And hopefully, if you do well, good things will happen for you. Maybe you can go to university and study mineralogy, type of thing. But yeah, this kind of goes over. This is set in 1914, so it goes over some of the difficulties women had with getting to study in universities and colleges and things like that. Loosely based on the first woman geologist who wasn't allowed to do field work because they were dominated by men, so she had to do all her field work for her PhD in her local area in Ottawa. But because Crimson, Ontario has a lodge that we'll be seeing very soon, your boss is comfortable with sending you up north to this place to do field work, which is an extremely rare and fortunate opportunity for Nancy, your character being Nancy Maple. She jumps at the chance because she's a go-getter. I'm just catching up on chat a little bit. Yes, there is no placeholder wording in the demo. I don't know, maybe I should just stick a message in there for the next version of the demo. But yeah, perhaps, a warning is in order. Yes. Yes, zooming from the first demo. Yeah, yeah. I should have said something. Oh, Ian Hanko, several years ago you worked with Phil Fortier. Turns out that yes, it's the same guy. He stopped working on operating system code to write games. Yeah, that's why Phil's game coding and the autocorrect, it's fantastic because he is a real deal programmer. Jim Flames Games, happy Crimsica Sunday. Good to see you. Yes, Arthur 1042. Yeah, it's very similar to Laura Bow wanting to become a journalist, but isn't really the norm in Laura Bow 2. Exactly. Like these are some of the issues that faced women. Still to this day, but like worse back then. I think. I think we can all agree. But yeah, so maybe the university will finally accept you as a mineralogy student. And he says, "Good luck, kiddo," which is kind of patronizing, but honestly, I think it's kind of a sweet thing as well. But she won't let him down, and he certainly won't. A few hours later, so this is all comically crude, I guess. Yeah. So she's going out of the city. She's born and raised in Toronto. Nancy Maple is, although she looks a lot like Laura Bow, I promise if you put the two sprites beside each other, they're very different looking. They're not even the same height. Their faces are different dimensions. But yeah, Laura Bow, that's my own problem. Nancy Maple, she is the daughter of Irish immigrants who came to Toronto during the potato famine in Ireland. And so there were a lot of, at that time, Irish immigrants coming into the city. And that's where she comes from. So she was born in Toronto, though. And this is her first time out into the wilds of Northern Ontario. And this train scene is also kind of similar to Laura Bow 2, where Laura Bow takes the train to New York City, where she gets to become that reporter. And so some of this, I feel like, it definitely takes inspiration from both Laura Bow games, especially the first one, because it's an EGA color palette and it's a text parser game. But it is its own story, and even though I had fun with the similar elements, but I think these elements are kind of tropes that exist beyond the Laura Bow games. And this is the first character you meet. This is Kimi Kishiro, who is based on some of my own personal heritage in Canada. My dad was born in Vancouver, BC. My grandmother was also on my dad's side born in Vancouver, BC. And her mother was also emigrated to Canada. So all kind of in the same time period as this would be happening. The first great Japanese immigration to Canada was in the late 1800s. And so a lot of them settled in Vancouver to work on farms as laborers and things like that. And I did want to include a Japanese character, a Japanese Canadian character. So Kimi is born in Canada, much like my grandmother was, because it's a reality of a world where people don't necessarily get to see that, but I think it's wonderful to be able to share that type of thing with people and kind of challenge people's preconceived notions of what history was like back then, because this is the reality. Like this is the real history and my own history. And they're going to travel up north together. Yeah, so I'm just going to go through this because I've got 15 minutes left on on the Big Adventure event front page, and I haven't even started the game, which I will continue to play though. And so I won't be on the Big Adventure event page anymore, but I should still be broadcasting on the Crimson Diamond Steam page, hopefully, because I think I'm showing it both places right now. And I also tweeted the actual direct link to my broadcast as well. So if you see me, I'm at Julia Minamata on Twitter as well. Yes, aw, Eric Parkin. Kimi Kishiro must be protected at all costs. She's my favorite character. Yeah, a lot of Kimi is based on actually both my parents, because this character, I will learn very soon, she's really into birds. They talk about Crimson Lodge. Kimmy's a birder. She heard there's nesting colonies of cormorants up there. My mom and dad love bird watching. My mom still loves bird watching. And so they're kind of this mix of both of those people. And I kind of based her personality more on my mom. And like her history is more based on my dad's side. Arthur 1042, you like the green hat. I enjoy making kind of like these weird color connections to things. And like Kimmy's color palette, Nancy's color palette, I love her mix of blues and the red. Like she's all primary colors, which I kind of like, except for her hat. And come to think, I forgot to mention this beautiful quilt that's behind me, which is a wonderful intricate patchwork of more than 1,000 quarter-inch squares, is fully the sprite of Nancy Maple that my mom has made a quilt of for me. She made that late last year. I know late to last other year. So 2020 Christmas time around, she made this for me, and it's like I like it's a treasure. And hopefully when events have become a thing, I will love to bring this out and hang it somewhere so people can see it. It's really something special. Okay, so let's get going here. It's 8:47. It's fine. Okay, so you guys travel up. You take the train to Northern Ontario, which I probably didn't exist. So this is kind of just made up, but I like trains. And yeah, so where her luggage goes missing, which is, I guess, an adventure game trope where you start with nothing but what you've got, in your pockets. Which for an adventure game character, it could be so much stuff, but Nancy doesn't start with very much. She starts with her notebook, her lucky loop, and the newspaper that we saw in the intro. Where's her luggage? Can't find it anywhere. Her field kit's in there, which is, what your whole job was, so you're in a little bit of trouble. But the train is leaving, so we have to get off the train. Chad, good to see you. Welcome. And so speaking of Chad, when I spoke of people who have been so helpful in the game, and it's not just me really making the game, it's all these other people. Chad is the one who did the Mac port for the Crimson Diamond demo, which is available on Steam and itch.io and on thecrimsondiamond.com. And I can't thank him enough for doing that. I just don't know how to do those things. I don't even have a Mac, so I couldn't test it even if I did know. So thank you so much, Chad, for that. Does Nancy have obligatory pocket lint? She really should, but it'd make good Tinder, Okay, so this art looks more like the art that's in the game. So I think we're almost done with the weird MS Paint looking art. And this character, yes, looks a lot like Hercule Poirot. One of the inspirations besides rocks and birds, cozy mysteries. That's why the quilt really works, I think, for the theme of cozy mystery. Agatha Christie. My mom loves mystery stories and mystery shows and mystery books. She has a lot of old Agatha Christie paperbacks from the 70s, which I love to look at the covers of and freak myself out with because they were kind of gruesome. And I've read a few, though I haven't read all of them. But love growing up with that type of stuff. My dad loved computer games, and so this is in so many ways a blending of both sides of my family and stuff that I love too. Yes, doesn't matter what her pockets have, but they could potentially hold stepladders, elephants, automobiles, and dozens of other things. Yes. The lucky loop shoots faster than its own shadow. David Suchet is the best Poirot. Yes, yes. I actually haven't seen a lot of Poirot, but that's something I really I ought to do. But this is, of course, very much based on that character. Deluxe talks that in Phantasmagoria, Adrian carries around a poker. Nancy, however, does not. I tried. Ah, well. Yeah, she you might have to wait a little bit later in the game for that. I don't know where Jack's walk cycle went because he does have one, so I don't know why he just kind of slid in there. Kimmy does too, and she slid as well. Anyway, this idea being is that he picked them up at the train station. Although he did not expect Kimmy and Nancy to be with Albert, because Albert is the one he expected to pick up, because Albert was sent from the government to investigate the diamond claim for the Canadian government. But no one else is coming. This is the last train of the night, and so he's decided, spirit of hospitality is to bring them to the lodge, stay overnight, bring them back to this train station in the morning, and send them on their way. So they're not expected to linger at the lodge. Yes, it's a very slippery train station. And to be fair, you get the same effect when you play old Sierra games at the highest speed. Well, that'll be my excuse. But even in an old version of the demo, he was walking, so I don't know what happened. But yeah, here's this car that I was very proud of. It's an REO touring wagon, which was made. It's period correct. And so yeah, they're just making their way to the lodge, and just more background about the area and how it used to be an old mining town that kind of went bust, and now the only building that's really around anymore is the lodge, which was the inn of the town. You don't really go to the town in this game, but yeah, you don't, not really. You're just in the lodge and the surrounding area of the lodge and its outbuildings. This Albert, yeah, I meant the T to be silent for some reason, but it could be Albert. I actually really don't know. I know George R.R. Martin is not that picky about how things are pronounced. Maybe I'll do the same with Albert. I always thought it was Albert. He is Belgian in the game, and so he might speak French. So maybe it's Albert. You don't like suitcase guy, Eric? You can tell streamers who have played Lamplight City versus the ones who haven't. The pronunciation of Legere, Harley Legere, right? Yeah. David, 1974. David Suchet portrays the best Poirot. I don't even know any other Poirots. That's how good he is. He should speak French. Belgian French, yes. Arthur 1042, thank you for reminding me something I forgot a long time ago, which was, that's why it's Albert, is because he's Belgian French, the character. Oh, Albert Finney. I don't know which Poirot I know. I think I know David Suchet. Okay, here's Crimson Lodge. We're going to go in and start the game proper. After a lengthy cutscene of not very convincing walking animations there of either of those men. And here we are. It's 8:53 and we've started the game, so we're not making good time. But I will continue even after I'm off of the Big Adventure Event main page, I promise. I will. I don't know if I'll play through the whole thing, but we'll see how much gas I've got in the tank. This is Chapter 1, Introductions. And I did kind of stealth in some of the tutorial that some people may have skipped into the main game, so this tells you a lot about those movement options again. I'm big on repetition. This first chapter, there's a lot of repetition because I wanted the player to be very clear about who you are playing and what you are there for. And this first section of the game is all about introducing yourself to the other characters in the lodge, which I guess would make story sense about why you'd want to do that, but also from a gameplay standpoint, it's going to really cement who you are. That's the hope anyway. So she's going to talk to everyone before dinner. The first goal is to talk to everyone. It's pretty straightforward. It's just to encourage a bit of use of the text parser and to explore all the rooms. Okay. Seeing as I've lost my luggage, I don't have much to amuse myself with before dinner. Perhaps if I look around, time will pass a bit faster. And this is that same encouragement to type in look, which we won't go through and read all the stuff. I love writing text parser responses for things. When I was showing this game at events, there's nothing better than watching someone try something that they don't think is going to work and have it actually do something. Hmm. Arthur 1042 asks, so what emotion do you wish to evoke from gamers when they play this game? Another really good question. I want you to feel like you've settled into a comfy couch with a comfy blanket over your knees, and you've got a nice cup of tea and a nice warm light, and you're settling in for like a cozy mystery novel, um, where you feel relaxed and warm and fuzzy and engaged, in a peaceful way. Those are the feelings I want people to have. So having this relaxed attentiveness to what's going on, um, I would say, because this game, nothing is going to happen in this game where you are going to be rushed. You have control over when the game advances. You completely control the pace. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Kenneth Branagh. Clearly, I'm actually aware of more people portraying Poirot than I actually realized. Which, yes, of course, Kenneth Branagh played Poirot in The Murder on the Orient Express, which was okay. It looks beautiful, and it's a lot of fun because of all the different characters they got together. It's not my favorite. I will be watching Murder on the Nile, of course. And I love the fact that we're back onto mystery movies. That seems to be the trend now with how well Knives Out did, and I've mentioned on a previous stream on Twitch how much I love Knives Out, and I think it might still be on Netflix, and at least in Canada. If you haven't seen it and you love mysteries, Knives Out is just glorious. So much fun. Ask Kimmy for hairpin, Chad. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna work. I actually know that's not gonna work. So yeah, it's a nice vibe. Time to put on some fuzzy socks with a fuzzy blanket and some EGA goodness. That's what I want, because that was the feeling I felt when I was playing these things. It's just a nice quiet time. There is going to be music in the game, but there's not going to be music playing throughout. Just in certain key moments here and there. Just a meditative feeling is the kind of thing I like. Yes. Oh, and Mousesmith says that is worth mentioning to the player in the beginning. It's fine to take their time, no dead ends, etc. And Eric Parkin asks, "What tea do you like to drink?" I love every kind of tea. I love black tea with milk. I love Japanese tea. I like green tea. I like hojicha. I like genmaicha. I like rooibos tea. I like flavored rooibos tea. I like Earl Grey. I don't think I've met one that I don't like, really. I love junky, sleepy, like those Tetley fruit sensations teas, which are kind of like the fast, like junky, fruity teas. I love them. I'll take anything. I love peppermint tea. Yeah, they're the thing I think I savor the most in all its glorious variety, more than anything else, I would say. So tea's a big thing. And the 1970s Orient Express had a phenomenal cast. I think I've seen it, but I can't remember. But yes, just to review. Oops. And we have the notebook. It's going to track our progress. So the first thing we're going to do is talk to Kimmy. Excited to explore. And Kimmy says, "Yes, you are the inquisitive type, aren't you?" And Jack did invite you to introduce yourself to everyone else. After all, it's only polite. And no, she will not be joining you. She's just going to relax in the room until it's dinner time, which is probably what I would do. I would certainly not be going around like this, but this is nice because we get to explore things we might not necessarily do. Oh, you Deluxe Talk's drinking hojicha right now? I just got some really nice hojicha. I can't wait to try. Just over this past weekend. So I actually introduced my mom to rooibos tea. My mom, I mentioned she loves mysteries. She loves Alexander McCall Smith's #1 ladies detective agency books, And so the protagonist, this wonderful female detective, she loves rooibos tea, red bush tea. I think it's called red bush tea or red tea. And I told my mom that's rooibos, and so I introduced my mom to rooibos tea for the first time in all her decades of life, and now we drink it pretty regularly, which is kind of nice. Arthur 1042 asks, so will we get a manual with the phrases and words we use within the game? I remember being stuck for weeks in Space Quest 2 because it used the word rub specifically for a puzzle, but put on anything else did not work. Before I answer that, I'm looking at the time. It's 8:59. For those of you in the Big Adventure event who are going to move on to the next stream as it automatically switches over, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, please. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far of the Crimson Diamond. The demo is available, this version, and I hope you enjoy it and play it and wishlist it if you like what you see. Okay, so that's that. It's 9. I'm probably not on the page anymore, but please, I hope you can continue watching. However that all works. I hope that all works. Let me know. Yes, Rob Berry on body. Yeah. I wasn't. I was not planning on including all the phrases and words, although it has been suggested by somebody else. Probably somebody else that's already in the chat has suggested this. To have a list like that, and said either nouns or verbs. I believe was the suggestion, and I will never say never, but at this point my instinct is no, because what I have really tried to do in this game is make the parser as robust as possible. Adventure Game Studio actually has a built-in parser engine that's pretty good, and whenever someone comes up with something. A suggestion for another way to call something, another synonym for something, I try to do my best to include it. Yeah, stuff like administer field sobriety test in Police Quest 1. There's nothing like that in this game. But there's something I will show really quickly. So on the main menu, there's something called logs. And there's a parser log and an activity log. And so if you're interested in helping out make that parser dictionary in the game more robust, if you turn on the parser log, what it will do, if there is a word you enter into the parser that is not in the dictionary, it's going to just make a log of that, and it's going to add it to a text file, which you will find in the same directory as your save games for this would be. And so you can find it. You can open up that file. I forget what the file is called, what that gets created, but it just continually adds to that file. And then you can read it. You can open up a notepad and see what the entries are. And if you have a bunch of stuff in there that you think should be in the game that isn't, then please, you can send me that file, or just copy paste that file into an email and send it to feedback@thecrimsondiamond.com. I don't have it on automatically because I just felt that was wrong to do to people, but it is an option here. In the main menu, the logs. The activity log, what it does is it logs when you move from room to room and when you save and load the game, things like that. And if that could give me some insight into how people are playing the game, how often they visit certain rooms, and things like that. So if you're interested, you can turn these on, and this just tells you more about where to find that stuff. If you go to about the logs, so that's there. Or you can just email me, say I wanted to look in the waste paper basket, and I said trash can, and it didn't work, and that actually is the item in the game that has the most synonyms so far, because everyone has a different idea of what it should be called. Okay, Deluxe Talk says it's 8 p.m. update. Oh, 9. Well, it's 9 p.m. here. You're still live on your. I'm still live on my own page, and also still featured in the top 4 on main page. Okay. Okay, that's good to know. Good to know. I will continue then. I do have a lot of words in this game. Yeah, Codename Iceman. I'm really, really scared of that game. I've seen people let's play it, and falling into the depths of despair playing it, and I have no desire to follow their footsteps. Oh well, administer FST for field sobriety test also works. Okay. Okay. Yes. Anyway, so let's continue onward. So open door is, and sometimes there's more than one door, and then you have to walk closer to it. But if there's only one door, in a room, she will just walk to it and open the door herself. Another quick thing. So I mentioned you can spin in the game, and I added that for no reason. You can also sit in a lot of the rooms, which is also completely for no reason. There's no gameplay reason to do this, but I wanted people to feel like they were comfortable in a game and comfortable in the lodge, and so we can sit in most rooms. I think that the parsers in those old games, they they kind of they were as good as they could be at the time, but I definitely Adventure Game Studio parser is much more flexible than what they would have had. Okay, so this so the tutorial button that we saw at the title screen that we could have turned off and left on. This is so the first few hallways that we walk down will have more tutorial messages. So this one just talks about the help window and talks about the parser shortcuts that Eric, who was in chat, really inspired me to include. So there's a lot of typing in the game. So in hopes of limiting that amount of typing, and also it's really helped me when I'm testing the game. It saves me a lot of time. You can shorten some things. Yes, yeah, Arthur 1042. The writing in the game is super important in terms of calling out what you can interact with in each room. I tried to make sure that those were as clear as they could be. So yes, OD will also work on doors. This one, that door is already open, so you will have to move closer to this one. Also, spacebar will repeat your last text parser input. But yeah, so this is another room. These doors have problems with them, and I could have sworn I fixed them, but I guess I didn't, so I'm gonna have to take another look at these doors. But I just wanted to show this ensuite room. There's a nice mirror effect that goes on here that I got help with the code from Francisco Gonzalez, who made Lamplight City and Rosewater, via Ben Chandler, who did the art on Unavowed and Shardlight and things like that. The adventure game community and the AGS community are super wonderful and helpful for stuff like this, especially for someone like me who, yes, this is kind of my first project. It's been really wonderful. Adventure Game Studio forums are super helpful when I've been stuck with things. Yeah, Chad. I imagine some. Yeah, Chad says I imagine some of the very old Sierra games would had to limit how many words it would know due to space limitations. Yeah, and I think even what I consider their text parser shortcuts was just the way that they were indexing the words. So probably open door. Probably for O, there were only so many different words you could use, and so O would have been open just because it was just reading that first letter of the first word. So yeah, I do agree with you that it was probably space limitations. I have no such limitations, which is wonderful. Arthur 1042, do we get the infamous "you have to stand closer" message? Yes, you do. You will get that message if you are in between other doors. So if I typed open door here, walk closer to the door you'd like to open. So that does happen. And so here we have another character. I love the mirror effect, and actually it was a bit of a struggle to implement in the game for a number of reasons that I won't get into, but it's here and I'm going to show it off at every opportunity. I'm also going to let you sit at every opportunity. You can just sit, you can have a chat. Well, we don't know this is Margot. If we look, so this is something Francisco said was a good idea. It says, you see a pretty blonde woman in a fashionable dress, so you don't know who this is yet because you have not introduced yourself. So you can talk to a woman. Hello there, it's nice to meet you. My name's Nancy Maple. And here's her. She is French Canadian, so everyone get out your best French Canadian accents. I will attempt. It's a special occasion. I wouldn't usually try this. A pleasure to meet you, mademoiselle. I am Margot. Welcome to Crimson Lodge. How long will you be staying with us? That's terrible. I'm sorry. I'm only here for one night. I was sent on assignment, but Jack says I'm due to leave on the train tomorrow, according to Mr. Richards' wishes. I see. I am sorry we won't get to know each other better. Yes. Crimson Lodge is a lovely place. I was a city girl for a time, but those days are behind me. And I do know that's a character trope in the Laura Bow games. There's the blonde lady with a French accent. There was Fifi in Colonel's Quest, and there was Yvette in Laura Bow 2, Dagger of Amon-Ra, and there is Margot in my game. But I like to make excuses for myself because Nancy is, she's an Irish immigrant. She has the red hair. The game is called Crimson Diamond, so that's kind of a nice tie-in to her red hair. Kimi has the black hair. There's another character that had brown hair. So Margot, I feel like, had to have blonde hair. And why not? But, I'm not going to say that I was not inspired by those games, because I most certainly was. Arthur 1042, there is a point system in this game. It's hidden right now, although, so a lot like Colonel's Bequest and Laura Bow, there is a hidden point system where you get evaluated at the end of each chapter, and it gives you, like, vague messages like you're doing great work, or you could be looking into things a bit more, etc. I haven't decided whether I'm going to reveal the actual point system in the game. I do count points. Some things are worth more than others. But I'm just keeping it hidden for now, and I'll decide later whether or not it will be just a ranking, or it'll be actual points. And Chad didn't think about the French characters in the Laura Bow games. Yeah, it's a thing. And so we have tracked in our notebook, talk to Margot, talk to Kimi. Some have suggested, instead of having it like this, like doing strike-throughs after you've talked to someone, which would be a great idea, but I don't know how to do that. Of course, there is a really sloppy way to do that, which would be every time I talk to someone, I'd replace the text that's up here. I don't even know how to do that. Never mind. I don't even know how to do it the sloppy way, so I just update the notebook by adding notes for what you've accomplished. Here I am telling you all of my limitations. I don't know if that's wise. Okay, so this is another tutorial message, which is the main menu, which adjusts the game speed, all that stuff, saving and loading. So we have the game music volume. Dan would be really sad to see how low the music volume is. Although I did do a sound test with the streaming beforehand, and I feel this is an appropriate volume for I'm talking and you need to be able to hear me. Arthur 1042 asks, do we get titles like Amateur, Super Sleuth, etc.? I'm seriously considering it, and maybe even doing the thermometer thing that's at the end of Colonel's Bequest, with the ascending tone as you get higher. With maybe some hints at the end to say, oh, did you try this, or did you try that? I really like that part of the Colonel's Bequest ending, so I can definitely see myself doing something like that. And Deluxe Taxi, and Poirot would be the top level of Super Sleuth and Poirot. Or Miss Marple might be the top ranking of Amateur, Super Sleuth, etc. Because Nancy Maple her name is kind of a mix of a few things, of course. She's a mix of Nancy Drew and Miss Marple, and she's Canadian, which brings the maple into it. And I'm not going to say that I'm good at naming things, but I'm pretty proud of that one. So we could say a Miss Marple would be the top, which is another, of course, Agatha Christie mystery character. And I've never read a Miss Marple. Actually, there's a show, but I've never seen the show. And Deluxe Talks, that's a good point, and I think that's instinctively how I feel about the point system. Deluxe Talk says, I feel like not including the point system explicitly enhances the cozy feeling of the game. So yeah, you're not like focused on getting 500 out of 500 points, for instance. Sort of team, no points. Yeah. Yeah, I could Ian Hin says you could hide the score as a number that is part of the item description in the game. Hide score as a number that is part of an item description. Interesting. Like it could be, I don't even know where that would be, like a Ouija board or something. Yeah, you mass miss, exactly. The game could tell you maybe not how many points you've missed, but like how many things you could try. Like with Laura Bow, it was like, did you find out the use of whatever this item was or something? It could have I could have stuff tracked that way, which I kind of like better to encourage that replay value. Okay, so I'm going to skip a few rooms because I know where everybody is, because I'm going to be efficient. And this talks about the inventory that we've already discussed, how there is a graphical inventory system with beautiful like icons that I've made for the inventory items, but isn't necessarily like period accurate to an EGA adventure game. Another kind of consideration about being period accurate was there's no voice acting in my game. There were no voice acted EGA games. And to be honest, I actually like not having voice acting in most of my adventure games, because I tend to actually not listen to them, even if it's there. And Kathy Rain actually did a nice kind of in between solution, which is brilliant. I'd never thought about it. Kathy Rain has a bit of voice acting here and there, but most of it's just text. And so that means you kind of get an idea of what the character sounds like for real, and then the rest of it you just fill in the blanks yourself, which I kind of like. Yes, Ian Hand. Yes, even the demo has replay value. And I will show maybe some examples of that as we play the demo. I'm probably not going to 100% my own demo because, if you're interested in what you see, I want to leave some stuff open for you to discover on your own. Yeah, exactly, Ian Hand. You're exactly the same boat as me. Voice acting can be nice, but I end up skipping it a lot. And also, another consideration is like budget. Like you definitely have to pay people. I would want to. There's like a lot of like the writing and stuff. You have to like have that locked in, and I like to change a lot of stuff on the fly. And yeah, it's just there's so many other moving parts to go with that I'm fully comfortable not having voice acting in my game. I don't think it really subtracts from the experience. And actually, I love hearing people's voices for the characters, and it's wonderful because when I've watched streamers play the game, they give all the characters similar voices to each other without having heard each other, and so I think there's something fun about that. Yeah, for I'm the same. You can read way faster than they can speak it. And I end up like cutting them off. And I do the same with Duolingo. Um, which is bad too. I'll touch the words and I won't let the whole sentence be read out before I just press check. Here is Albert, and so he's here unpacking, of course. So we're gonna look Albert, stately, well-groomed man, monocle. Yeah, he's from Antwerp, which people ask me if that's a Quest for Glory reference, and it's not really because actually Antwerp was the diamond capital of Europe. There were a lot of like mineralogist type people, a lot of lapidary people, so gem cutting and like the commerce of diamonds was happening in Antwerp. So the Belgian character, and he's actually called the Belgian in the code. The Belgian who looks like Hercule Poirot from Antwerp does fit in with this actual story. Like I didn't just make him a Poirot lookalike for no reason. I have my reasons. So this character is supposed to be from that very particular diamond center at this time. Look at Owlbear. Such a snobby guy. Yes, Antwerp is a real place. So that's where I was coming from. But when people see the game and they think, oh, this is Antwerp from Quest for Glory, I'm like, that's cool because that can kind of connect too, and why not? He's big and blue as well. He's like a round blue man, and I know the Antwerp is like a round blue type of a creature. So it does work on a lot of different levels. But you don't have to have played Quest for Glory and know what an Antwerp creature is to hopefully appreciate the character. So we'll talk to Man, or Al. We can call him Al. Hello, Mr. Respa. How are you settling in? He's very busy and can't chat. Still counts. He doesn't want to talk to us. And we can't even ask him about stuff. Ask Al about Crimson. He doesn't want to talk to us. Maybe we'll be able to talk to him later. Okay, moving on. Yeah, all these rooms I'm really... actually, you know what? It might be fun to go out on the balcony. And this is the only way you can access the outside at night right now in the demo. You're restricted to the interior of the lodge in the demo. Chapter 2, you actually get to go outside the lodge and it's daytime, and so all this will look different. There is a point in the game when you can go outside at night, and then you get to see more of the surroundings during that time. But yeah, you get to take a peek at what the actual palette looks like for the game at nighttime. And I picked like a cyan based palette. When you first came to the lodge, it was super dark. And I might need to change that, but this is what the nighttime looks like in the game. Arthur 1042 says, "God, I've been traumatized with balconies from Sierra games." Yeah, you know what? I'm okay. This is that quality of life stuff I was talking about. This balcony is actually working, although it's really hard to resist having like railings just break away like the Colonel's Bequest. Um, I don't know if I can resist that, but I've resisted so far. Yes, the Lux Tux. Albert is a professional, so yeah, he's really well dressed for his job. Actually, that becomes a plot point later, but not in the demo. Oh, what is the? Oh, actually, interesting. Deluxe Tux. What is the response for jump? I think that's something new in the demo. Actually, jump. Yeah, you're a mineralogist, not an acrobat. I think that's all I've done here. Eric Parkin, have a wonderful night. Thank you for coming to chat. I appreciate it. I will see you on Twitter. Yeah, get axed by a suit of armor. Yeah, there's something about that meanness, which I do enjoy, but I don't have the heart to do it. Yeah, Ian Hen, I'm the same way. I mean, to be honest, although the look of my game is more like the Sierra look, I actually prefer the Sierra look to the games. I love like the zany, like Day of the Tentacle type of art. My favorite adventure game to play was probably the original Secret of Monkey Island, the EGA version, because it was more realistic in a way. Like it looked more like a Sierra adventure game than what would be considered the LucasArts look that they really like established later on. But yeah, I preferred the LucasArts games because as a kid, this stuff terrified me. The Colonel's Bequest was really scary for me, genuinely, and I did enjoy that safe feeling with the way LucasArts games were designed, and I did want to have that same feeling in the Crimson Diamond. You can't. There's a couple deaths in the demo that I guess I'll show today, but you have to really work for them. It's not like if you walk down the center of the hallway, the chandelier will fall on you, for instance. Um, I didn't want to have that. I didn't want. I want that cozy feeling, and you can't have that if you're just paranoid the whole time. Yeah, and getting soft locked by missing an item, like I don't. Yeah, I feel like that's not something I want to do. It's kind of artificial challenge. Yeah, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis was a rough one. And Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, I want to play the EGA version of that. Yeah, yeah. Ian had you may have tweeted to me about how when they went to VGA they used gradients everywhere. And to be honest, I feel like with EGA with a limited color palette, they had to be a lot more ingenious. And I think one of my examples was the EGA version of The Secret of Monkey Island. The inside of the tent is just a masterclass in lighting and tone. And they might have even been dithering in that shot. I don't remember, but the effects they created inside the tent, with the way the ceiling um, was it's really something. And even stuff like nighttime scenes like we just saw in the outside of Crimson, you couldn't just slap like a blue filter on it and call it nighttime. You actually had to really think about the colors you were using for the nighttime scenes, which I love. I love all that stuff. All right, so here we go. So here's something I did want to introduce to players in the first chapter because this is something you'll do throughout the game, and something that I think we all kind of love about something we wouldn't necessarily do in real life, but in a game, it's kind of the thing we want to do. Especially also just taking everything that's available to us, of course, is this idea that you can listen in on doorways. And this is another piece that Dan composed. This is the eavesdropping music. And yes, there's a lot of places in the game where you can skip the cutscenes. but I didn't want players to accidentally press enter and skip a complete cutscene. So enter will be to advance text, and escape you only use during stuff like this to skip completely. Yes, Loom was also gorgeous, Arthur 1042, I do agree. So yeah, you get to listen in on people's conversations, what they really think, and what they're planning, and all that stuff. Um, Although I think Nessa is pretty clear about how she feels about things, so that's not really going to teach you anything new about her character. But yes, we'll get this whole affair straightened out and be gone in no time. And locating the will expedite our departure, so that's something to remember potentially. Right, and here is an example of autosave. First save game, which I should probably take that out as a message, but so this is the first autosave we've seen so far, and you can tell it's an autosave because it's got like kind of this exclamation mark colon look here, and then this is what it has here, and then here's the toggle for autosave if you wish to not have that feature. Oh, Deluxe Tux, you have a Tangle Tower emote. Tangle Tower, I think it's called Tangle Tower, right? Or Tangle Towers. They were at Adventure X in 2019 as well. And that game is gorgeous. I have not played it yet, but it's gorgeous. Yeah, let's take a look in here. Let us talk to man. Introduce yourself. This is Corvus Shaw, Nessa's lawyer. Ping. We can talk woman. Good evening. She's Evan's older sister. Why don't we ask her about that will that we heard her talking about? Ask Nessa about will. I'm the elder child. By rights, this place should be... Okay, so when streamers voice Nessa, everyone does the same thing, and this is that coolness thing that I was telling you about. What they do is they go, I'm the elder child. By rights, this place should belong to me. But that's none of your business. They kind of do that thing, which I kind of do think is... She does look like she would sound like that. Yes, these two are so rude. Ask man about will. Mrs. Crabbe hired me to help her deal with the legal implications of this situation, etc. We will determine who truly inherits this land, will or no. So that's something that, you could have asked this before you listen to that conversation, but listening to the conversation means you know to ask it. Yes, these are pretty rude. Moving on. You know what? Yes, let us go to another conversation, a whispered conversation. In fact, I should, when we're listening to this, I should let this theme play out a little more, because there is quite a bit more to it than I showed. It does loop, but we should enjoy some of Dan's music together, I think. These are two other characters you have yet to meet that are just having a little chat. This will also reveal certain information to you. Yeah, what are we going to do? Going to stay out of everyone's way. What if they find... Shh, listen, if you want to talk, we'll do it privately later. Meet me in the study after dinner. So that's something to remember. Elaborate ask lists feel like homework. Yeah, I mean, honestly... you don't have to be too bothered about trying to ask everything under the sun. If there is something you need to ask a character in order to progress the game, I will explicitly say in the notebook, ask so and so about this. Asking people about stuff, I don't want it to be required. I want it to be a reward for learning more stuff. But it's not necessary to ask people stuff. It's not going to make you not win the game unless you completely ignore the specific question you might need to ask in the notebook. Because I do realize that people have different ways they play the game. Some people are just going to want to buzz through using the notebook, and some people are going to really want to take their time to break down everything and find out who goes where at certain times, and totally maximize everything that they see. Some people are going to want to ask everything under the sun, ask people about every other character at every different time in the game. And I don't want you ever to feel obligated to do those things. But it will hopefully help you learn more about the characters in the story, but you'll be able to understand the story without doing that, for sure. Arthur 1042 says, would it make sense to make an autosave just before the cutscene So you can rewatch it just in case you haven't played for a while. It makes sense, but just before a cutscene. Interesting. That is a good point. Yeah, that's a good idea. Because right now the autosave happens after the cutscene, but yeah, you might want to have that before. Um, so you know what? I'm gonna write that one down. Autosave before cutscenes. Yeah, I think that'd be rather nice. Oh, and Ian Han says, I mean, the level of notebook tasks feels just right. Yeah, I'm going to demonstrate, like something optional that you would miss, but, you don't need to see necessarily, and wouldn't be in the notebook. Oh, and 1042, Arthur 1042 says, how about adding an easy and normal and hard mode in terms of how much the notebook tells you? You know what? Maybe maybe there should be a mode that has no notebook, right? So, that's I might consider that as well. This is all very good. So difficulty modes dictate comprehensiveness. I should have come up with a less cumbersome word for that. Of notebook, or just have a toggle for notebook. Because some people, I'm telling you, I was never good at these games. There are some people who are really good at these games. I suspect one of them was the one who suggested I make autosave an option. Yes, casual or old school. I'm an old school adventure gamer. I've never been good at these things. Okay, so meet me in the study after dinner. So that's something we can remember. And now it's not going to be in the notebook because it's not like a goal to progress the story, but it's something we can think about that possibly could happen after dinner. So. Let's open this door, and we're missing a few people. Oh, yeah, we forgot to talk to those people. That's right. So let's have a seat. Okay. Let us look. I don't think we don't know their names yet, which was again a great idea by Francisco. So let's just we can talk to people, actually. That's going to talk to everyone in the room as well. So here we go. Evan Richards. This guy is the man who owns the lodge. A bit of a recluse. He just likes living on his own. But because of that diamond discovery, his sister has come up from the city. She brought her lawyer. This Albert is now here because he's sent by the government. You are here because you're sent by the Royal Canadian Museum. Kimi's here for the cormorants. This is his friend Nathan, who is here for that very same reason. So a lot of extra people are in the lodge now because of this discovery, and Evan is not happy about it. Right. Okay. And this is his friend Nathan Cardinal. And Nathan Cardinal, his family has a long history in the area called Crimson. I mean, before it was called Crimson, I'm sure also his family had a history here. And that does get addressed in the dining room scene as well. So what his interest in this land is and what his stake is. And when I was doing research, there were a couple different tribes that I feel like geographically he would be connected to. But because Crimson it's a ghost town and it doesn't have a specific location, I wanted to keep that for everything in the game, where there's a general area where it could be, but I didn't want to really be specific about where that place was. Okay, so this is the autosave. Jack calling supper. And that noise, also composed by Dan, it will tell you that, you've completed the chapter, which is you've completed all the notebook stuff, and you can at your leisure go to the dining room and enter into the next. You haven't completed the chapter. You've completed the section, and your next thing you do will be progressing you to the next section of chapter 1. Arthur 1042. Do the characters actually have a name badge while talking because we have the memory of goldfish? Well, if you have the memory of goldfish, you can just ask people. And actually people is abbreviated to PP. So if you ask PP about Lodge, this will get you through just about everything if you don't remember their names. My pa built the lodge rock solid. That was back in the day settlers came here to mine garnets. And that's why the town of Crimson was called Crimson, for the red garnets that were mined in the area. Evan's father built this lodge. At the time, the government had bought a large swath of land from my family for a pittance. Not that they had much choice in the matter. Government surveyed the land, believed there was enough garnet to mine from the earth to build a huge industrial town to extract it. Over time, the government bought more and more land and built Crimson and the train station, but eventually most settlers left as there wasn't much garnet as everyone was expecting. Richard's family is the last settlers to remain. Their land contains valuable riverside property, not to mention a lake that is rich with fish. So if you do forget everyone's name, you can just say ask. This even works probably. Ask about diamonds. Yeah, so this will work too. So for the heart of remembering, you have my sympathies because I am very much in that same boat. You don't actually have to write their names. And look will, Mouse makes you make a good point. Look will tell you who is in each room. Yeah. Oh, Deluxe Talks, on your first demo playthrough, you made yourself a handwritten relationship chart with names and little sketches. Very nice. So yeah, we can ask about fish. What? I don't know anything about that, Miss Maple. So there's some things that they won't know about. Although oh, I'm already sitting. So they will know about some things, not about everything. But yeah, we can go to dining room. So let's proceed to dining room. This is something else I did. You may have opened this door already, in which case you wouldn't notice the visual cue. But the doors to the dining room have now opened, hopefully prompting you to enter. So we talked to everyone. So that was another, and you can see that there are like little numbers also attached to the ends of these autosaves, so they kind of tell you what order they were in, although they're always going to be in chronological order. But talk to everyone. So this is just before, I guess, what would be considered the dining room cutscene. So let's proceed. I have this as a looping GIF that I like to share on Twitter sometimes, and this is probably my favorite looping GIF. Everyone sitting at the table eating. And so this is a full complement of people nearly. There's one empty chair, but maybe that'll be addressed later in the game. Deluxe Tech says, I am the type that likes to ask everyone about everyone else for all that juicy gossip. Yeah, which I love, and I tried to write a fair number of parses, so you can learn about stuff. So yeah, we can definitely ask about other characters, and how other characters feel about those other characters. So we can try some of that after this dining room scene. Yes. My Nessa looks like she is in such a lovely mood. Yeah, Nessa, not eating, not happy. They were sitting on the sofa, yet they were faster. Yeah, everyone, time, who knows how time moves here. But here's Nessa, the close-up of Nessa with her little, she's like this, not happy. But this is a beautiful dining room waltz music composed by Dan Polakar. I think he composes on live on stream, in fact. Ian Hahn says, expanding on that score item idea, you could have an old-timey radio where you hear the news when you turn it on, and it states a random sentence of news containing the number as part of the story. Like, 12 men were rescued from a mine today. I have to, you know what? I think by chapter 4, you have, like, a score up in the 200s to 300s, I think. I was generous with points. Oh, maybe have an option to remove the text box so we can view the animation in its full glory. I think it disappears after a while, but maybe not here. There it goes, yeah. So we can see their food. They've got some kind of a salad with like little tomatoes or raspberries, a bit of meat, potatoes, and a bun. But the thing is, Ian Hunt, about that point, is that's what's so beautiful about the text parser, is that I could code it so that It goes blank men were rescued from a mine today, and then the score would be inserted into that spot, which you could not do with voice acting. Well, you could, but it would be bad. It would be funny. It might be good. But yes, they're having this. They don't get along, and she reiterates why she's here and what she's wanting to get out of this. You know, all this stuff. So you just get an idea who everyone is. This just sets the table, literally, I guess, metaphorically, for the rest of the game. We hear about the Garnet mining town. So if you didn't ask about the Garnets or Crimson, you know, you get a bit of the story here, but the setting. And, you know, Nancy makes conversation. Nessa is unpleasant. And it goes on. There's another really, kind of a cutscene here. Although, so one of the notes I got from the feedback was you couldn't tell that Nancy was talking to Nathan at this time. So I kind of tried to direct her eyeball, but she just looks like she's rolling her eyes. So maybe I need to have another... I used to have her turning her head to talk to Nathan, but I don't think people could tell that she was talking to him. So I don't know if this is a good solution or not graphically. Yeah. Chad says, imagine a voice actor having to individually say each number up to the max score. No, it'd be like 250. You know, which would be funny. I think that'd be funny. Yeah, I don't put Nancy a lot in profile. I actually don't like drawing profiles. Yes, so this is the part where, you know, there's a bit of addressing of, yeah, I mean, well, I'm interested in the history, like, of that time period in Canada and Ontario, the late 18 to early 1900s, and you cannot talk about this history without talking about how that settlements and all the government incentives to settle land, and what that did with the First Nations, and the agreements that were set and the treaties that were made, all those things. I think it's really important. It's definitely part of the history, so not to include it would have been a really huge oversight. And Nathan looks awesome in the shot. I like drawing Nathan. I tried... See, the EGA is kind of limited in skin tone, we will say. You can tell in this shot, you see Margot... And I took this cue, actually, from Fifi from Colonel's Bequest, because Margot and Fifi are both, I would like to consider, fairer skin than someone like Nancy would be. So her shadowing is done with the brown on the bright red. But like, you look at someone, for instance, to compare, Albert in the top left, his skin is done in the dark red shadow, which kind of gives him more contrast. So there's only so much you can do with the different skin tones. I love the fact that they can have someone with a different skin tone here. And, you know, Kimi is Asian, but I'm not going to go the Manhunter route where I'm going to make her like lemon yellow, her skin. So she doesn't really have a different skin tone either. It's very limited what you can do if you're not dithering the skin tone. Maybe if you make the characters make eye contact with her, and the ones not talking have their eyes somewhere else. Make the characters. Maybe make Nancy easier to see. Yeah, Manhunter 1040. Yeah, Arthur 1042. That's another game where, yes, I love EGA. Yes, I love adventure games. But I don't know. I don't think I could play that. I've seen playthroughs, and so I can enjoy the game on that level. But yeah, I wasn't gonna do... I know Enclosure also is an EGA game where they made the Asian character yellow. I'm just not gonna go there. But yeah, here we talk about Nathan and his family. About 50 years ago, this land... Well, 50 years ago as of like 1914, this land was annexed by the government. Various treaties were signed in exchange for preservation of our hunting and fishing rights, financial compensation. They were not honored, settlers came, etc. The mines were exhausted, people left. Nessa never liked it here. We liked it. I always hated it here. You know. Actually, she would have a bit of an English accent because she was born in England. Like, the Richards family is from England. They emigrated to Canada. And Nessa was born in England, and Evan was born in Crimson, and so that's why he would he's much more comfortable in crimson because it's all he's ever known. But Nessa was a little girl when she moved from London to like the sticks basically, and so I totally understand why she would be sour about this whole situation because she's used to living, in a nice like city, and she had to like adjust to living in a place that was much harder. So I don't blame her for not liking it here. So she is crabby. I get it. She left Crimson as soon as she was old enough to live on her own, and she hasn't been back until the Diamond Claim because she feels like she deserves something. Manhunter is grim. Yes, it's very grim. Maybe I can make her head bob up and down in that position. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I might have to revisit it, but it's one of those things where there's so many little things to adjust that sometimes I just gotta like mow ahead and work on chapter 5, which I have started. Well, not started, but I'm like going through the details of chapter 5 now and exactly what's gonna happen and when. So I'm trying to like leave all the excellent feedback I've gotten so far on the beta and the demo for now and revisit that. I just need to like. There's only so much I can do in a day. It's Canadian Green Acres for Nessa. I've never actually seen Green Acres. You know. So here's Ness and Corvus are first to excuse themselves from the table. They head to the bar for a nightcap, so we can expect to find them in the bar. Jack clears away the dishes and goes to the kitchen to wash up. Margot heads upstairs to draw a bath. Kimmy and Albert head to their rooms. Nathan and Evan remain at the table, lingering over their desserts. Okay, so that was a lovely meal. Great. So we have another note here. Help Jack with the dishes. Yes, chapter 5 is approaching. So I do have the broad strokes of chapter 5, Chad, done. Right now I've been separating chapter 5 into my 3 sections. What happens when, what characters are doing, and where they are in each of those sections. And most importantly, what the triggers and the flags are to get from section to section. Ian Hahn says, this scene reminds me of, but it's much nicer than the dining room in Hugo's House of Horrors. Hugo's House of Horrors, I'm another huge fan of that, and David P. Gray as a developer. I think last stream I did with Dan on Tuesday, I did a bit of art beforehand, and I was talking about my love of EGA house games that are set in houses in EGA. So we have Hugo's House of Horrors, we have Colonel's Bequest, we have Maniac Mansion. Personal Nightmare is kind of based in houses too, which is the game I'm doing my Let's Play of right now. What other it's like my favorite subgenre of a niche is EGA house games. Yes, whiskey and whiskey. Well, whiskey with an E and whiskey without an E are both recognized. One is a Canadian spelling and one isn't, and I don't remember which is which. Yes, Hugo 2 had a house as well. You're right, Ian Hun. Hugo 1 was the haunted house of horrors, and Hugo 2 was the whodunit. Yes. Yes, where you play as Penelope. Hugo 2, whodunit. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to stand, and so we talk to everyone. So we're going to save this as after dinner. The note does say help Jack with dishes. And I will actually, now that we're in the dining room, I will demonstrate one of the first deaths you can have in the game. Oh yeah, Arthur 1042. The Elvira games were made by the same people that made Personal Nightmare. And I remember seeing pictures of ads for Waxworks and for Elvira and being really, really terrified. Adventure to mystery, long live text parsers and EGA. Okay, Americans and Irish spell it as whiskey with an E, not certain about Canadian spelling. I don't remember. You can also take whiskey. You take some whiskey and store it in your tummy. It would have soaked through your pocket. Ooh, that whiskey is pretty strong. Drink whiskey. First time you skipped the tutorial and neglected to use the notebook. Oh, and Ian Hunt, in which game? In Elvira game? Oh wait, not in Elvira games. Hugo. Hugo game, there was a notebook? Okay. My goodness, this stuff is going straight to my head. Drink. Drink. Oh, drink. Booze? Oh, I don't see booze right now. Drink whiskey with no E? Oh, my game. Okay, okay, sorry. Ian Hunt, my first time playing, I skipped the tutorial and neglected to use the notebook. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, I probably had my limit. I really ought to stop. Okay, so we're here. We're at your limit. The game has auto-saved. This is also new to the demo. Before you do something unadvisable, the game auto-saves. We've auto-saved as know your limit. Okay, gotcha. When you're playing the Crimson Diamond demo, yes. See, people do skip the tutorial, so that's why I try to shove little bits of it here and there in, just because I'm like, you never know. Maybe you can learn something. But yes, let's have one more drinky. Yeah, and honestly, yeah, that's something new I did. To have you save before you know. And this is something I also added to the game because I got feedback where they're like, shouldn't, if you do this when there are people in the room, shouldn't they say something? So yeah. Everything in moderation. So, yeah. Know your limit. So we're gonna leave the whiskey up until, although there is a bug right now that for the life of me, it should be easy, and I don't know why, but I can't fix it, and it's bothering me. If you just leave and come back and drink more whiskey, it's like the drink counter resets, and I don't know why. Like, it really shouldn't. It should reset. I mean, it should not reset, but it does. And I've done other counters in the game that persist throughout rooms, so I know how to do a global variable. So I don't know why this happens. Anyway, so yes, we can, in fact, help Jack with the dishes, but if we do help Jack with the dishes, there are a few things we could miss. One thing we would miss is you can kind of hear conversation coming through here. And you can see there's a bunch of people in this room talking. But we can't listen here because... Oh, Mr. Evans and Nathan are here. His name is Mr. Richards. That's a typo. I'm testing my own game live. Eavesdropping in their presence wouldn't be appropriate. Oh, you were good without the notebook until you needed to help Jack. Gotcha. Okay. Right, so. Let's just get out of here. There's a few ways you can actually listen to this conversation. Because these people are pretty busy and preoccupied and it's not really a private conversation necessarily, you can just listen at this door. There's another way to do this, though. You can actually, there's an item we can get that we need to get for the end of this chapter. That you can use on this door if it's closed. So I did want it to make, there's a couple ways to do some things. But we're going to do one of these things that is not in the notebook. So all these conversations you could potentially miss. In fact, there's another thing that people will miss. It mentioned that Margot is upstairs drawing a bath. And it also mentioned that, the other people went upstairs. So we can actually check on them and we can, oops, that's not Nessa's bedroom. It's big. It's a big place. I actually have a map that I consult. Oh, she's not. Oh yeah, sorry. Nessa's in the bar, but Albert went to his room. So. Oh no, he didn't go to his room. He's in the bar. But Kimi went to her room. And here's Kimi, so we can look at Kimi now. Oh, what? Look at Kimi. Oh yeah, look at Kimi. So this is our first time actually looking at Kimi, so it's going to give us that general description, but it's also going to say, Kimi's reading a bird book in bed. So, look, book. Kimi must have packed her other books away. She's reading a bird book in bed. Ask Kimi about bird. Oh yeah, she's talking about nesting cormorants. You can ask about uh, Nessa. Yeah, scary lady. I stay out of her way. You can ask about all the characters at every time, and if you ask her before she meets Nessa, I think she'll say she hasn't met her yet or something. Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. Deluxe text. Yeah, it's irresponsible of the game to just let you keep drinking if you leave the room and come back. It's kind of funny how she knows it's inappropriate to listen, but it's cool if no one sees. We've all been there. Yeah, so here we are. We can look Margot. Um, she's here, and we can talk Margot. Hello, Margot. Bonsoir, mademoiselle. Would you care to join me? And you can see her sprite has changed to show that she's in a towel, and her conversation has changed from when you first met her. So, yeah, I mean, this is just a way for people to ask about things. So we can ask her about bath. So she says her joints ache, and so baths are helpful to her. I take a bath every night with luxurious oils. Can we ask about oil? Oh, Mademoiselle Maple, I wish I knew. So we can ask her, all kinds of things. Ask about Evan. He's sweet and gentle-hearted. Yeah. I tried to kind of minimize aimless wandering around. So, I mean, at the end of the dining room cutscene, it told you basically where everybody was. Oh la la. Yes. Ask Margot about asking me about the word. Yes, Margot is bold. And there are, yes, she does. I confess, she has Fifi and Yvette vibes. Yes. But yeah, so let's see. We've got these guys are here, but we know that they're meant to go to the study to have a private conversation. And so there's a couple things actually I want to just demonstrate. So okay, know your limits, fine. If we clear these plates, which you do get points for, if you clear these plates, then they go into the study. So they get up and leave. Yes, Margot is very eco-conscious. Okay. If we go to the study now, we can hear that there's a conversation happening through this door. But hold on. So, open study. Study. So if we open this door, which doesn't lock, you'll see, it's getting late now. Perhaps we'll talk another time. You have a nice night. Indeed, good night. You don't get to see the conversation if you barge in on them like that. But yes, like I said, there are a couple ways you can listen to that conversation. One of them is to find something to listen at this door with. Or my favorite way to do it is something funner. You can hide. You have to be near the tapestry to do this, but you can hide behind this tapestry. And Dan did not compose that little bit tune thing. I did, but maybe I should get him to do something like that. But you can listen. You can actually watch them have their conversation in the room. If you listen outside the door with a tool that we're going to need to obtain soon, you will get the same conversation, but you won't get to see them. Oh, Mouse Miss, I'm so pleasantly surprised, that your mind can be blown. You know what? I'm my God, did I press record? Oh gosh, thank goodness I'm recording. Okay. I've not recorded stuff in the past. Okay. Yes, exactly. Arthur 1042. Laura Bow 2 vibes hiding behind the tapestry. But yeah, so you can hear this from behind the door in the hallway, or you can see them have this conversation. And it's the same conversation, which I'm just going to skip through. You can maybe explore this on your own. But they have this talk and they shake hands, which you don't see if you're listening to the same conversation outside the door. So with the scoring system, you'd get more points to see it this way than to listen to it or miss it completely. Yeah, it's a comical outline that she's hiding behind. And you can see her feet underneath. But yes, so that's that. And now we've got here, we've got Evan here. Look, Evan. Lounge in the conservatory, lingering over a nightcap. Can we ask about nightcap? Oh, we can't ask about nightcap. Talk Evan. Just to see where he's at. Ask about Nat. Oh, he went home for the night. So yeah, so we won't find Nathan in the lodge anymore because he doesn't live here. He doesn't even stay here. He lives nearby. Arthur 1042 says, I'm just curious how you would know if you could do this if you went in new. So yes, that's a very good point. And so that's something where if you progress this this chapter into the second little subchapter where things move around a little bit, I think you would miss this conversation for sure. So you do get a little bit of extra information, but it's not gonna it's not gonna stop you from progressing in the game. It's kind of optional. So we can now listen here to this conversation as well, but this is all stuff not in the notebook. So that's the thing where I've seen streamers play it, and so everyone, doesn't tend to find everything at the same time. And that's the way I found for a linear game to have a bit of replay value, was to have stuff that was optional, but does kind of add to your understanding of the game. Yeah, exactly, Inhan. It's a replayability thing. Yeah, I don't have any. I don't think at present there's any hint that you can look behind the tapestry, but that conversation, it's got the two ways, so you can listen with something else. So maybe if you find the item that you need to complete this chapter with, you would think to maybe go back and try it on the study door potentially. But yes, so this is her talking about how much she hated Crimson always and how much Evan loved it. And now we've got these two sitting here. And so if you go upstairs, time has passed now. Not past to progress the game solid, like real solid story, but like now we can see that Margot is now in the bath. Margot being outside of the bath versus Margot being in the bath, it's not essential to witness this, and it's not essential to your understanding of the story. And if you don't see this, you won't get stuck. But it's one of those things where, maybe this is going to give you more information about this character. So if we talk to Margot now, she goes, how's the bath? Bonsoir, mademoiselle. The water is very soothing on my joints. And now you can see her sprite has again changed to having there be, the water line along the bottom there. Maybe if you look around in the room, it says something like the tapestry looks like it could function like a hiding place. Yeah, very potentially. I might want to make that something more obvious for sure. Something I would definitely consider. So there she is. And now I think if we go to here, Kimi's still reading, but I think now, the door is locked. So this is where this is Albert's bedroom, and now it's locked because he's in bed for the night. And so we have some other time passing here. There are these folks that are here. They're not really having a conversation. We can ask Nessa about Evan. I think I already did. Yeah, maybe. But maybe if we clear plates, and this is the thing where you can just press escape to cut that animated sequence, which apparently there is a huge community of people. Well, I don't know if it's a huge community, but it's a very enthusiastic community of people who speedrun adventure games. And so one of the passes I did for the new version of the demo was to create skippable, and like when that animation happens, you don't necessarily have to see it every time. Yeah, Margot's bathing with the door wide open. Man, is she confident. Yes, it's a character thing for her. But let's see. So let's help Jack with the dishes after all. Help Jack. You help Jack wash the dishes. Thanks, miss. Lots more dishes than usual. Happy to help. So he says he's got to go see to Miss Crab and Mr. Shaw in the bar. Need to get Mr. Richards his hot toddy, but he already kind of has it. Doesn't he? Maybe he has a nightcap. Maybe that's separate from a hot toddy. Don't want to keep Margot waiting. Forget about that last one, won't you? Okay, so we've hit another section where we've helped Jack. Now we have to eavesdrop on the boudoir door. There are still a couple things I think we can do. Maybe at least one thing we can still do in this section. There's another conversation happening in the bar with these two characters, which is another example of something that can be missed if you're just following the notebook. There's Evan still. And I think it's later in the night, and I believe now is the time when, yes, Nessa's in her bed sleeping. Look, Nessa. Gently snoring and fast asleep. We can't talk to her anymore. You can't ask her anything. She's done for the night. I think this is more than enough information for Nancy. Yes, Ian, we don't know what's going on there. But yeah, we can go here. Now Kimmy's in bed and sleeping. And we were told we need to eavesdrop on the boudoir door. We can hear voices. The door is locked. Listen. We can hear muffled voices in the boudoir, but the speakers are too far from the door to hear them clearly. Perhaps you could listen at the door with an item that would help. Can we dip her finger into warm water, the deluxe talks? No, we cannot. Although, honestly, we could potentially have all the items to do that, which I can show you. But no, you can't do that. Open cupboard. So here we have look in cupboard, which we haven't really done much of. A lot of the cupboards and furniture in the Crimson Lodge are empty for like development time reasons, but they could also be like story reasons, because this was a lodge and people weren't really living here that much, so there would be empty cupboards and things. But anyway, we have a pretty blue mug, as we can see. And I just want to show off for a second, where if you close this cupboard, it's kind of got, it's a mirrored cupboard, and you can kind of see the items through, the items that are on the shelf through the glass cupboard. So if you open the cupboard, which could be shortened to OCU, if you take that mug, the pretty blue mug, take the blue mug, if you close the cupboard, the outline for that mug is no longer there, which I'm too proud of. Let's take a look at that mug. Mug has a beautiful blue glaze. Ian Han, you tried the coffee mug first. Yes. Yeah, and you can't use the mug because the mug would not work as well. This is an AGS Easter egg. The bottom of the mug has an inscription that reads as follows: AG Studio by Chris Jones, model 3.3.5.7, which is the version of Adventure Game Studio that I'm using, which is not the most recent version. But when I was considering upgrading my version, it said, "Are you sure you want to do this? It could break everything." And I said, "No, thank you." And that's why I'm still on 3.3.57. But yeah. The mascot for Adventure Game Studio is this blue mug or blue cup. And sometimes Adventure Game Studio developers like to put a blue cup in as an Easter egg. In Lamplight City, there is a blue mug on the table, like later, much later in the game. And Feria Darls, which is made by Tom Simpson, which is a gorgeous game, there is a blue mug as well. And I'm sure there are many more examples. Ian Hunt says, The technique used for the glass makes me think of Adrian Carmack's EGA drawings of things like ice and diamonds. That's a very high compliment, Ian Han, because I'm a big fan of. Speaking of EGA, yeah, Adrian Carmack's work. I love like I'm not. Did you work on like Wolfenstein 3D, and Duke Nukem and all those things? I love that stuff. EGA in all its forms. But oh yeah, and you know what? Yeah, we can actually have a cup of warm water, but we can't do the dip the finger in the trick thing. So we can actually fill mug with kettle. You fill the blue mug with water from the kettle. So that does do a thing. So what's interesting about the demo is you can do stuff in the demo now that you couldn't do in previous demo versions, but that's only because you need to do the stuff later in the game. But I couldn't think of a reason to take that ability out of chapter 1 when I would need it in a subsequent chapter. So you can indeed fill a mug with water. It's not necessary for chapter 1, but you will need it at a later time. Commander Keen, thank you. Oh my gosh, Ian Han, I can't believe I named like the Wolfenstein 3D and I named Duke Nukem. Commander Keen is like the third, well, like Wolfenstein 3D is not even EGA. But yeah, Commander Keen and Duke Nukem or the two like, what's the word I'm looking for? Cornerstones of EGA action games. Arthur 1042 says, I feel like if you are a casual gamer, the notebook should have like footnotes tab or something that say go check up on other guests rather than helping Jack and missing out on content. Very possibly. Like honestly, it could be another design consideration to make for sure. Commander Keen as well, Ian Han. Okay. Yes. So yes. So this is something. Yeah. You can. There are other things you can do in the demo that you couldn't do in a previous version of the demo because this stuff figures into later chapters. I'm not going to show all of that. But if you open this cupboard, we can look in cupboard drinking glasses. Yeah. Good to know you can fill that with water. You can actually drink the water too. Oh yeah, drink mug water. You drink the water from the mug. Well, that was refreshing. And just to show you just something for no reason, well, not even no reason, fill mug with kettle. I think there's other ways you can say it, but dump mug in sink. And now it's empty. Tantalizing hints of what's to come in later chapters. Arthur 1042. I never played Zeliard. I never played any of the stuff that Sierra published, but didn't actually develop. Sylphid and Zeliard, and they looked cool though. Let's take a class. So we have glass, spotless. Take a look at the glass. Brilliant shine of the squeaky clean drinking glass. Okay. So. Everyone's gone to bed. We are the night owl. Speaking of owls. Oh yeah, and we can't, if you try to leave the house in the demo, the lodge in the demo, she says she won't, it's dark as anything, and she doesn't need to go out this way right now. So, although I love saying that one of the earlier versions of the Crimson Diamond demo that I released, 2 people managed to escape the lodge, which I'm so happy and just excited about. But no longer can you do that. Because now I delete the whole room, the exterior rooms folder. So even if you manage to get out, it'll just crash. Oh, Arthur 1042. Wow, it's 4 a.m. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed the stream. Yeah, nice chatting to you as well. Yes, make you feel less old. I think this helps all of us. Yeah, if you liked this today, yeah, I stream on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. A lot of the same people you see in chat are in that chat as well. They're lovely people. We talk about all kinds of stuff, games and tech and things, and just general sociability. So if you're ever around, but don't maybe stay up as late potentially, we are around at 8 p.m. Eastern on my Twitch channel. But so thank you. I'm glad to make your acquaintance. Yeah, Chad. Yeah, you tried to leave the lodge in an early demo. It crashed the game. It might have been an even earlier version before I learned my lesson that people did get out. It was a thing. 2 people did. Thank you so much, Arthur 1042. Have a lovely night. I hope you get a good rest. And yeah, it's I'm not going to go for much longer, I don't think, because I'm about to finish my own demo with a wonderful score, I hope. Um, and my voice is kind of going, which it's funny because I do stream on Tuesdays for longer than this, so I don't know what's going on. Although I usually stream from about 8 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock p.m. to about like 11 usually. So I don't know what's going on today. But yeah, I think after I finish this, I'll call it a night. And see anyone who's wanting to come to Twitch on Tuesday to do so. But I also would like to add that I did not do everything possible in the demo tonight. I think I missed a Did I miss a conversation? I think I missed a conversation. I did most of this stuff. And here's the conversation. That they're having. Now, this conversation is interesting, and this is another reason that I kind of like not having voice acting in a game, because when you have to read the text yourself, you have to guess at the tone of what the conversation is, for good and for ill. And this is a particular conversation where how you're interpreting it does make a big difference. And what you might have seen earlier in the game may lead you to interpret this conversation differently than had you missed certain aspects. And actually, that's like with a book, is the same way, you know? It's up to you to generate what people are supposed to sound like, what the emotions are behind words. And it's up to the author to hopefully push you in the right direction for those things. But you're drawing on, other parts of your own experience to do that. And voice acting it's very specific about how you should be feeling about things and like what the emotions are. So in that way, I feel like not having it can add a little bit to interpretation. So here's Margot having a conversation with Jack, a secret conversation you're not meant to listen to. She talks about her body aching, which could be salacious, and we don't know that it's not. But judging from a couple things that we have seen with Margot on my demo playthrough, which was hinted at in terms of where people would be after dinner. So there, I don't make it so that you would have no idea where people would be, but it was not required for us to encounter and have a conversation with Margot after dinner. But if you take that conversation into consideration, maybe you'd have a different idea about what's going on here. So here's the conversation, which you can read at your leisure. And Jack is off for the night. He's a hard worker. And then Nancy hides behind the door. And that's it. We've done it. After waiting a few minutes, Margot leaves her boudoir and heads downstairs. You manage to sneak across the hall to your bedroom. What a long and intriguing night this has been. And here's the rating that I got. Excellent job! Kudos on your thorough investigative technique. So I did okay. Phew, I'm exhausted. What an interesting place this is. It's too bad Kimi and I have to leave on the train tomorrow. Later that night, Thanks for playing my demo. Yes, if there are any bugs, I would like to, yes, say again. If you find bugs, let me know. It's super helpful. Um, Working by myself, like in making the game, I'm not alone in helping it get out to the world in terms of like Chad making the Mac port and Dan making the music. But the hardest thing for me is to get testing done, because that's something it's impossible for me to do that on my own. I would not possibly and like I'll be able to approach it in all the many different ways players can. So when when people stream the game, for instance, and I had a wonderful streamer stream this game on Friday at around 9 o'clock, 9:30 p.m. Skinned Teen, and other wonderful people. Fractal Mind Mike is another Twitch streamer who's played the demo. Ask Alice has played the demo, and if you are a streamer and you want to play the Crimson Diamond demo at some point, please let me know. I will try my hardest to be there in the chat to watch, answer questions, give hints, because it is it is live playtesting, and I get feedback and I see what people get stuck on, and find bugs and all kinds of stuff, and it's super super valuable for me because yeah, I don't have that resource. So if you ever do want to stream it, let me know. I would even, if you wanted to, we could do a dual camera setup. I could be there as well. Anything like that. Totally open for that if we can find a time. But yeah, if you just, if you find a bug or you think there's something that can be improved, make it easier for people to play, send feedback at thecrimsondiamond.com. Let me know. I want people to experience text parser games and enjoy them. Here are the credits. Yeah, I definitely didn't do this by myself. Although it feels like that sometimes, I have had lots of help. Yes. Wow, and my wow, that's really out of focus. Yeah, I don't know. I have a separate webcam, and I don't know why that happens. But anyway, yes, going out with a bang. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming to stream. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. I hope there were some new things. I know it's funny because there's some people who have been coming to stream for a while now and have seen me probably play through my demo a few times, but have seen something new tonight, which is kind of exciting. Even them. So that's wonderful. If you're new to the stream, thank you for coming and watching me do my Let's Play. Thank you for supporting the Big Adventure event. If you're a dev and you're interested in the Big Adventure event and they do it next year, definitely submit your game. The visibility is really good. I got a good amount of wish listing happening over the whole event. Tomorrow is the last day, and I'll probably try to stream this on loop starting tomorrow. But it's wonderful. It's wonderful to share and be part of this adventure game community. And I'm so happy I got to participate again. Hoping to release this game late this year. We'll see. Yes, Deluxe Talk, Slot Studio, Mousemas, Chad, Blaholtzen, all you folks. It's wonderful. Furoi, I'm sure I'm forgetting people. The thing is with this is, another thing I don't like about Stream Chat is everyone's name is the same color. Ian Han, it's good to see you from Twitter. Yeah, it's just, we have such a nice time. Yeah, and if you did enjoy what you saw here, you want to see more development stuff, please do come see us on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern for Crimson Tuesday on Twitch, _Maple Mystery. It's fun times. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for me for the night. Thank you so much for coming. Long live adventure games. Long live EGA. Long live text parser. And thank you for helping me to do all those things. So have a wonderful night. And to some of you, I will see you on Tuesday. Yes. See. Oh no, there goes the. Why do you do? Okay, there it goes. See you on Tuesday maybe. But yes, have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful week. Yes, good night.